Hey, Bulls and Bears, what's happening? Back with another financial and economic news update full of cheer, sunshine, and delight and smiles. Okay, so the financial news is not always the funnest thing to talk about. Um, the financial mess that a lot of people are in, it's not fun to sit here and report this. So try to have a little fun. I put out some of these things called YouTube Shorts. And if you guys haven't checked them out, please look down in description. I went ahead and linked to those. Please give me your feedback on them, your comments. Every time I put one out, I get a bunch of thumbs down. And all I'm trying to do is have a little fun, okay? I'm not a comedian. I don't have the best sense of humor, but at least I'm trying to have a little fun. So please watch those and let me know what you think. Because every time I put one out, the army of thumbs down people comes out and they attack me with thumbs down. And then please let me know down in this video if you think it's worth it. Should I keep doing those? And maybe I'll get better. Maybe I'll actually even get funny one of these days. Or should I just give it up? They're awful. Give it up. Don't even try to get better because you're so bad. Even if you get better, it's still going to be bad. Please let me know down in the comments, the YouTube Shorts. Let's get into the news today. All right, so let's start off with some fun and happy news right here. Egon Van Greyers, and I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, Even Van Greyers, maybe. We are on the early stages of an inflationary depression. Now, what he talks about in this interview is how historically every major currency has lost its value completely compared to gold. Now, I know there's a lot of you out there right now that are probably thinking to yourself, or maybe saying out loud, you're saying, JJ, gold's not doing that good, silver's not doing that good. The prices haven't been moving up like everything else, like automobiles and homes. Well, keep in mind, with automobiles and homes, you cannot manipulate the price on the paper market like you can precious metals. Gold and silver, and even oil, they can manipulate the price on the paper market. For example, we had negative price of oil during the shutdowns. Oil actually went negative. Do you think you could have went out and gotten oil for free because the price was negative on the paper markets? Of course not. The same thing with gold and silver. Try to go out and buy silver right now for what is it, $21, $22 an ounce right now. You're not going to find it. You're lucky to find it for less than $27 an ounce. Right? So the paper prices that you see in many cases are not indicative of the real price of these commodities. All right, but here's how Egan Van Greyers summed this up. Quote, as the world economy goes towards an inflationary depression, exasperated not only by epic debts and deficits, but now also by war, the significance of gold takes on a different dimension. Now, we get a chart here of major currencies against gold going all the way back to 1900. Now, gold is the line right here at 100. And we look at the yen, we look at the Reichsmark, we look at the pound, we look at the dollar, and the purchasing power of those currencies have all lost just about all of their value. Right? So what can you buy today for $100? And let's go back in time a little bit. Let's go back 100 years, 1920, and let's say you had $100 back in 1920. You bury that in the ground, and you also bury $100 worth of gold in the ground. And you dig it up here 100 years later, technically 1922, I know. And what do you get for that $100? What can you buy today for that $100 that you versus what you could have bought back then with that same $100? You could have bought a lot back then. Now, the price of gold in 1922, right around $20. So for $100 in 1922, you could have gotten about 5 ounces of gold. 5 ounces of gold today at about $1,800, that's about $9,000. So if you would have just stayed in the $100 bill or buried the $100 bill in the ground and dug it up here 100 years later, you'd still have the same $100. But if you would have bought gold with it, instead of $100, you would have $9,000. All right, so it doesn't take a genius to figure this out, that $100 in cash over the years, you lost a lot of money. You lost a lot of purchasing power. But in gold, you would have had about $9,000 right now. Now, yes, it can get very frustrating as a gold and silver stacker. I stack a bit of silver, so I feel the frustration that the prices are not rising more. But eventually, as you saw in that chart, gold and silver prices massively outperform sitting in fiat paper dollars. And we may not see the true value of precious metals until when the inflationary depression finally gets here. At that time, if you need something, if you need, let's say, food, maybe there's a farmer in town and he has food, maybe somebody with cattle, maybe you want to get some meat off of a farmer, some food off of a farmer, something to eat. Do you think they're going to be more likely to want your paper money that doesn't buy much, or are they going to want hard assets, precious metals? Next, let's take a look at the annual percentage change in CPI, the Consumer Price Index. This goes all the way back to the financial crisis. So you thought things were unaffordable back then with Housing Bubble 1 or 1.0. I think we're in 2.0 now. If you think things were expensive back then, this is nothing like we've ever seen before in history. Now, where people start getting scared and a little bit freaked out is they see what's happened in other countries. For example, Zimbabwe, Venezuela. We see other countries now entering hyperinflation. Countries like Lebanon, Sudan, Argentina, all seeing massive inflation. Now, the thing is, those countries do not have the world reserve currency. The dollar is still king. Now, does that mean the dollar buys a lot? Well, no. The dollar is still losing value and still losing purchasing power. But when you compare it to other currencies, the dollar is the one-eyed king in the land of the blind. So when you see these charts and reports saying the dollar is strengthening, yes, it's strengthening compared to other fiat digital currencies, but it's not strengthening as far as purchasing power. It's losing purchasing power all the time. Now, to me, another really scary part about this whole situation with this rising cost of living is all of the businesses that will not survive this. You're going to see a lot of small businesses and medium-sized businesses not survive what's coming. Here's another recent example. Family logging business forced to close after nearly 40 years due to inflation and high gas prices. Bobby Goodson said with diesel prices nearly tripling in the past 2 years, inflation and other products and truck shortages, he didn't see any way to hold on to the business, the only career he had ever considered. And sadly, this is just one of many examples. So fasten your seatbelts, folks. It's going to get pretty crazy. Do you agree with Egan Van Geyer's inflationary depression coming? And what's your opinion on gold and silver? Better than holding fiat dollars? We see what's happened to other assets recently. Major volatility to the downside, especially here recently. And again, what do you think about the short videos? I'm going to link to them down below. Funny, thumbs up, keep trying, or just stop doing the short videos. You're not a comedian. Just stick with the economic financial news and don't try to have any fun. Don't try to get any laughs. Please let me know down in the comments. Thanks for being here. Peace.